Hello and welcome to the Jargus Ranger Review. This time we're looking at the 18th episode of Super Megaforce, Emperor Mavro. And my, was so much crammed into this one. So it starts off back at the Armada, of course, and Darius and Olivia are waiting whatever orders are come next, thanks to the loss of both their princes, Vekar and Rock. But before they can decide to do anything, something comes and destroys a big chunk of their fleet. And in walks the Emperor. And then some members of the Royal Guard come in, and they introduce the Emperor, Mavro, and it's this episode name. And you know this guy is bad looking from the start. He comes in, his body is all black, he has one red eye, he has long hair going right down his front and his back, and he has all these gold spikes coming out the edge of his body. Oh yeah, you can tell he's a pretty strong one. And his first order of business is to have Darius arrested because he failed. The prince still died. And Olivia tried to stand up for him, saying that the prince wouldn't listen, but they just knocked it down and took him anyway. And he sits in the seat where Vekar used to sit, strange way of saying that, and let a giant portrait of him hang above him. He said he was going to destroy the Rangers for defeating his sons, and in order to take over Earth as well, of course. And after the intro, we see the Rangers back on Earth fighting the X-Borgs, just a random assortment of them. And it's noted that it's just really easy to them now. And Jake is just messing around, almost letting them hit him. And when Gia calls him out on it after the battle, he says, "Hey, relax, it's over, we've won. The leaders are gone." But Troy, being the ever so serious one he is, he has a feeling it's not over yet. And how right you are. Because back in space, Olivia is trying to convince the Royal Guard to let Darius fight to get his vengeance on the Rangers. And as soon as they agree to do it, he just bursts out with his power and breaks them, saying that he only stayed in that cage because of his loyalty to the Emperor. So yeah, he's not just a henchman, he's actually a really strong fighter. And while most of the Rangers are going to Ernie's to celebrate, as they usually do, Troy takes Orion on an errand with him to get some tickets to a rock concert. And Orion has no idea what it is, despite the handful of months he's been on Earth. I would hope he knows what a concert is, being around high school students for this amount of time. But before that can go anywhere at all, a bunch of Armada ships attack. And so our other four Rangers get their blasters to fight him. Their Megaforce blasters, without morphing. But they don't even get to shoot him, he just slashes a sword wave that goes right by him and destroys a big chunk of city buildings in the distance. And if Rangers figure he is pretty important, he might be the real leader. Oh, how little you know. And then Troy and Orion, showing slightly greater intelligence, try attacking him with the Super Mega Blasters. Well, Orion would only have the Super Mega one, but that's not the point. The Silver Ranger recognized him as Darius, the most powerful warrior in the universe. Then Troy, being the Red Ranger that he is, says that they're going to keep fighting until they leave the Earth. And now is when they go into that Super Mega Morph. And now this guy, he's not going down easily at all. I mean, he just has big attacks that can knock the Rangers back. Huge hits with his sword, and even the Rangers' heaviest attacks just don't faze him. So after being unimpressed with their performance against him, he just tries to knock him away with a giant gust wave. But Jake is able to block it, except it takes out the other Rangers, including Troy. He even loses his morpher in the process, and Darius takes him away. And our other 5 Rangers are out cold, except for Jake, and he brings them to the command center. And a clever move on his part, he knows that the people of Earth see the Red Ranger as a hero, so they're gonna hold him hostage. Either they'll sacrifice their planet and surrender, or they'll kill him. And our Troy says that the other Rangers will come, and they have him blindfolded the whole time, so he can't see anything of where he's at right now. And while Jake is trying to help the other Rangers at the command center, just help them recover, Ghosty is entirely quiet. This is when he should be talking the most. Then our Black Emperor appears translucently in the sky. I guess it's the right word. It's sort of like when Ecliptor announced that Astronema was in charge now in Countdown to Destruction from Power Rangers in Space. That kind of look. Sort of see-through. Faded. I don't know the right word to describe it. Anyway, he gives his commands that Earth has 1 hour to surrender. Or they'll kill Troy, who they have on Earth, still blindfolded, but he's in his old Megaforce costume for some reason, even though he doesn't have any Morpher on him. The other Rangers, laying down, try to get up, but Jake says them to stay there and he'll take care of it alone. And Ghosty says, well, Tensei will help you. Yeah, don't expect that little guy to do anything much after he let himself get hit by lightning, a little alpha wannabe. But now Troy, while he's standing there, chained up to a pole, he just goes on about another speech how the fight will go on with or without him. He really sounds like relaxed or entranced about it. Not like he's trying to resist what they're doing. And I don't know if that was intentional with his delivery or not, but it always seemed different to me compared to how he usually is. I mean, he's usually calm even when he's serious most of the time, but not that calm. That's a bit unusual for Troy. Well, then Jake attacks the guards with a Megaforce blaster, and then a bunch of exports attack him. Of course. You really think they were going to leave him unguarded that much? So he rushes in to fight him, unmorphed, and through it he goes to his Megaforce, then his Super Megaforce, and then he finishes him off as a Mystic Force Ranger. And that's enough of a ruckus to bring out Danvers, who's ready to fight him. But during that distraction, Dentsu is getting behind Troy, and the other guy frees him from his restraints. And then Jake, who's getting his ass kicked by Damaris, gets saved by Troy with some kicks at him. And he even gets back his Super Mega Morpher. And the other Rangers show up, and a good attention to detail, they are still very bruised from their fight. So unlike most episodes, they're not showing an instant recovery when they go to round 2. A detail that left me very impressed. And General tries several sonic boom attacks to knock away the Rangers, except for Jake and Troy, who combine their dual-wielding weapons, 2 swords, 2 blasters, to push him back. And the others join right in to hit with the Super Mega Cannon. And even though it's a very powerful attack that brings him down, he grows right away. He doesn't even need Levera to laser him up. And they start with their standard combination of the Q-Rex and the Legendary Megazord. And then the Rangers go on about that he's powerful, but there's strength in numbers. And so they combine to make the ultimate Legendary Megazord once more. And now when Damaris attacks, he gets slapped away with the drill hand. That must hurt, even with his armor. And to push him back, they fire missiles from their hands. That's so rare you get Megazords with hand projectiles these days. It just looks so cool to see in action. And for a new finishing attack, they have the Zord Blitz. It's pretty much all the extra Zords that they can combine with and show off just come out and hit him with all their attacks, and they destroy him. That means he just says he can't believe he lost. Then he slowly collapses and explodes. And when the rest are relaxing in the command center, Troy is bringing Tensu back. He's carrying the little bastard. And Troy just thanks the team for all the help they gave him. And that's when he showed them off the concert tickets. How they didn't get damaged at all is beyond me. They must have really rushed their hostage situation if they didn't even search him like that. And Orion still has no idea what it is. But that night they go to the concert and enjoy it. And interesting enough, this is actually the concert from the Samurai episode. It's not Heavy Metal, He's My Brother, I think it was called. I think that was Super Samurai. They just completely reused it. Even the footage of it, except for a few shots where they showed our current Rangers dancing to it. Very clever touch, Saban, but I noticed that. And when the song ends, so does our episode. And this episode was pretty damn intense, because there was a ton of stuff that was crammed into it. You got the aftermath of Vekar falling, the new Emperor coming, how the Rangers are dealing with it, how Levera and Damaris are handling it, what the Earth is like, a bit more into Orion, how he still knows so little about Earth and its culture, despite being among them for months, and working and living with them and such. Then you just have one big battle with the General, who's extremely powerful, and Orion actually knows something that the Rangers don't this time. Usually it's the other way around. I mean, they just crammed a ton of stuff in there, and the action was really well done. Even the Megazord fight, which is always too short for my taste these days. It was really cool to see just that Zord Blitz with pretty much all their great powers just coming to destroy him. And that throwback to Samurai was very clever. I enjoyed that. Despite how lackluster a lot of the season has been, the action this time was actually very, very impressive. Mainly because they made sure to show just how hard Damaris could hit with every blow. Even to the point where they made us see just how damaged the Rangers got themselves. And speaking of the Rangers, Jake actually got some character growth. That's not just being the funny one. They actually showed just how serious he could be in a pinch. They actually showed how serious he can be when he has to. Oh, and he was very serious. I mean, he took the lead in the final battle. So we finally get to see that he's become a real hero and not just a jokester, even though he even started this episode that way. But that was more in celebration than it was being careless. It was still impressive for us to see some characters just changing over time. Because the only one we've really seen change much is Noah, of all people. He started off as like a Billy type character, but he grew to be very tough on his own, especially the past few episodes. Now there's only 2 episodes left and we have a new thread to end. The Armada is running out of troops, so they must be pretty desperate to finish things off. Yeah, this episode gets an A from me. It certainly got me interested to see what happens. I would have liked to see the Emperor at the end of the episode instead of the concert, just to see that he's serious about this and that he's going to take things down. And most likely we'll get to see that right during the entire next episode, I hope. But we'll know soon enough. And that's all for this time. I'm Jargus here, and thanks for watching. And until we meet again, let the power protect you.